All right, it looks like we have Brian on Esper and Paul on Mono Black.
So Brian on Esper, I'm hoping to see some of that
artifact.
white-blue artifact that I was talking about.
I think black is a good complement to those two colors for the removal package. I can see him splashing for that.
And we were just able to see Paul's deck. He stopped by to let us know what he's got, and there's some good spice in there.
Oh, there's some spice in there.
Jake pulling up Infernal Reckoning, one of the big bomb cards that they put into the core set more for other formats.
This is a modern card constructed all day, a little bit in Legacy as well.
And they've dropped a lot of hints as to what these format cards are put in there for.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this demon just making a mess at Ulamog, or one of the Eldrazi's.
Yeah.
Probably one of the lesser ones. So that would be the Infernal Reckoning.
Yeah. I mean, it's a clean answer in black for all the colorless strategies, which is Tron all day.
We saw Meteor Golem
in
Mike's deck.
Yep.
This is an answer for Meteor Golem.
And the big thing is he gains life.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we have Monolith, Pegasus Corsair, Marauder Axe, Plains. Not sure what that is. Island, Plains. This is a keepable hand. So Brian has stuff to play. It's a little slower. I think the first thing he plays on 3, but that's... Oh, actually, no, he can play that.
1 mana, 1/1 flyer.
1/1 flyer. Okay. Totally reasonable rate.
Yeah.
Alright.
And again, these are all new cards to us, so hopefully we'll be able to pick off a bunch of them, but...
I think by draft weekend we'll be old hats.
We should know most of them by then.
Yeah.
But we will try to get images up there for all the cards that we are not able to recognize. That would be the axe. Piece of equipment over there. The bird is a Rustwing Falcon, 1/2 flyer.
Okay. Well, that's a good rate for one.
Yeah. That's called Power Creep.
Yep, and it looks like
Marauder's Axe.
Yep.
So equip for 2, equip creature gets +2/+0. So he's opting not to do that.
Yeah, I think he's going to play his 3rd land and then play his 3-drop, probably Monolith, to just keep the mana flowing. Oh no, he wants the Corsair. Looks like
so
he just
1/3 flyer.
Yep, and we talked about this yesterday. I think this is still one of the strongest cards in white at common. As we saw in Dominaria, it makes anything on the ground basically a pseudo flyer.
Yeah.
A 1/3 butt is relevant because it doesn't die to shock, for example.
I'm going to cut you off.
Yep,
It can block a bear.
It can block a bear.
That's right.
It can block a bear favorably.
It looks like a Dune Dissenter.
Yep.
Which is a 1/1. When it dies, he gets a 2/2 zombie. But since those are both flying,
yep,
Brian isn't worried about that zombie right now.
And I do very much like if we are in black, there's a very good chance we were in the sacrifice kind of deck.
Oh yeah.
Seems like a decent sacrifice target. Also, it's a good roadblock. All of that is good.
There's Nightmare's Thirst. 2 lands. There's this promo foil. It looks like Phylactery Lich.
Yeah, it's a 5/5, I believe, right?
Can we get that one on screen? Phylactery, PHY.
There we go.
3 mana, 5/5.
3 mana, 5/5, indestructible, which is very relevant.
Oh yeah.
You have to. He needs to have an artifact, basically.
So if he has an artifact when he plays the Lich,
yep,
the artifact gets a Phylactery counter.
Correct.
The Lich is only good as long as he has that artifact in play.
Right. It's almost as if he has sold his demon-type zombie soul into this single artifact, and once the artifact is gone, he disappears, but as long as he has it, things are good.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he played an Infection Spore until he does find that artifact.
Yep.
Those flyers, though, just keep on coming over.
Yeah, the big thing is that very soon Brian will be able to equip the Marauder's Axe. What is this here?
That's a Djinn of...
Is that the Wishes Djinn? Djinn of 3
Wishes?
Wishes?
That is the Wishes.
Oh, Andy, this is my card. Like, if I wanted to play Limited, this is the card I would love.
Djinn of Wishes.
It's a 4/4 flyer for 5, and you get 3 wishes with it. And each wish costs 2 blue and 2 generic mana. You remove a wish counter from the Djinn of Wishes, leaving you 2 if you started with 3.
Right.
You reveal the top card of your library. You can play it
for free.
If you don't, you exile it. So that flavor-wise, this is a win. If it beyond flavor-wise, it's just a bomb.
It's an air elemental.
It's an air elemental plus 3 free cards, possibly. Like, or cards that cost 4. Does that make sense?
And it doesn't even need to tap.
Yep. See, if you have any way of using Gin of Wishes and anything to, like, scry or see your top card, that card is insane.
Now, the question is, does Brian have that?
Don't know, but
We'll
even
find
Blind
out.
Wishing feels good.
So, right there, Paul played a Skeleton Archer, which
Yep.
deals 1 damage to any target. The problem is, it's a 1/2 flyer, a 1/3 flyer, and a 4/4 flyer.
Yep.
So, he had to go to Brian's head with that 1 damage. Normally, that's good against small flyers.
Agreed.
But
In previous sets, the 1/1 flyer would have been dead by now.
it would have been a 1/1 for 1, not a 1/2.
Correct.
Alright, so now it's a 3/2.
Flyer.
So, these flyers are just wreaking havoc on Paul's board right now.
Yeah, you've got yourself an Aven Wind Guide, a Air Elemental, and a Corsair in other sets, but now we just have it as Gin of Wishes.
Pegasus Courser and the Rustwing Falcon.
Rustwing Falcon.
Yeah.
That Falcon, man, is
1/2.
1/2 with the equipment on it. That's real.
Alright, Paul, come on. We were talking about how much removal Black has. We got to see some.
Ooh,
Alright.
what we got here?
Brian with the white card. I had my white sheet, and then I had to put it away. Here we go, white sheet.
Militia Bugler.
Ben, stop helping him.
When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4, reveal a creature 2 or less, and put it into your hand. So it's a tutor card,
And then the rest go on the bottom, so
Bottom,
it doesn't
yeah.
help him with the gym.
right?
But,
Wow, if you could stack the top with that. Ooh.
yeah, that'd be good. I see at least 2 lands. Looks like it was a whiff. Yeah, and it's random order, so he's offering Paul to randomize if he wants.
Yep.
Alright. Still, it's a 2/3 with Vigilance, which is good at blocking those ground creatures, except
If
for
Paul
the
doesn't
Archer.
have an answer this turn, though, I think he just dies in the air.
Yeah. Well, that's 7 in the air.
Yeah.
No, 8. 8 flying. And yeah, that Lich just never got a chance to come out and play.
I think, yeah, he would need something like Murder or just any of the straight black removal.
The one that gains him life, he has 5 mana.
Even the Spores would be okay here.
Lich's Caress would have gained him 3 life, gotten him out of the damage range from the flyers.
Looks like he might have just done that. Did he Lich his Caress there?
That would be Lich's Caress.
Yeah.
Takes out the Djinn. Got no value out of the Wish tokens.
So yeah, it's alright. Paul also gains 3 life, which is relevant. Reduces the clock a little bit.
Because now it's just 4 damage flying at him.
I think he actually can go for 6 because the Corsair can make the Vigilant Bugler flying as well.
Ooh, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Corsair. Like, this 1/3 enables so many things on your board that it's really, really rough.
And that, yep.
It looks like he picked up
The
another
second Corsair. What's that blue card behind
Couple
it?
lands, I think. Couple lands. So he's
So
coming
all
in.
flying. He indicated that the Bugler's flying also. That's 6.
Yep, but the Bugler has Vigilance, so
They'll probably fix that.
yep. Just make sure they
Still
get that
good to indicate that you're
untapped.
attacking with
Yep,
it.
totally.
So he has 6 mana available.
Plays the
Second
next Corsair, and
There's,
yep.
there's our table judge Ben fixing it.
Who's that? Little blue.
Exclusion Mage. That's a
That's
Mana
bounce.
War. It's
Yeah, that's a
human
Mana War. Yep. I'm glad they put
Yeah.
this at uncommon. That the last set, Academy Journey Mage, is at common. Same kind of deal for 5. I believe that these kind of effects we're going to start seeing move to a higher rarity because they're so tempo based and strong.
I just wish we'd stop seeing them on humans.
Yeah.
There are too many good humans. I would have
Reflector
loved to have seen a
Mage.
jellyfish here.
Yeah. And it's a wizard too.
Give me a reprint of a jellyfish.
A
and I
human
would've loved
wizard
this
is
even
this is
more.
actually a very good card
Yeah.
because it's a
Wizard
Mana War
enables
human.
the Journey Mage.
Yeah.
Humans are so good as a tribe right now because every set has them.
The big deal is that they're fixing in the color fixing for modern is really, really strong.
Yeah.
Like they basically have a perfect mana
12
base for
lands that
nothing.
produce any color
Yeah.
because they're all human.
Yep. Which is ridiculous that it's just free like that.
But that's modern format.
Yep.
And most decks are, or most sets are designed for standard. Core set being an exception where they have slipped quite a bit into some rare slots.
Yeah. I
As
think
answer
they've
cards.
shifted the rarity for a lot of stuff more recently. But that's how design ebbs and flows as well.
Yeah.
The flavor text on Murder it's not work if you enjoy it. That's hilarious. I do like some of the flavor texts that they've been coming up with.
Every now and then they get good ones. My favorite of all time was on Pacifism.
What's that one?
Heal.
Is that what it says?
Yep.
That's great.
I believe it was the Mirage version.
I love that one. The picture with like kind of the mask guy.
Yep. Jake, if you can, since I said it, type in Pacifism and then click on the one that has a palm tree for a symbol. I just want to see if I'm right about that flavor text while they're playing. Oh, that's... Nope, it's a different card, but it says heal. Thank you, Jake, for pulling that up. Alright, so Paul, first player to get a permanent on the board this time. Flipping the rolls. Let's see what Brian's response is. Just to play a land and pass. Suspicious Bookcase. So a defender, but it gives the creature unblockable. Very nice. And that key to Paul's deck is that he now has artifacts. That looks like a Sky Scanner, which drew Paul a card when it entered the battlefield. Brian plays his third land and a Pegasus Courser. So he's got a 1/3, which is able to block the Sky Scanner. Paul looking over his hand. Went with the Infectious Horror. It's a 2/2 for 4 mana, but when it dies, or whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 2 life. So it represents 4 damage when it attacks. And right now that Courser can block it, but it can't kill it. Brian, however, took care of that. Pyromancer's Cage. The latest Oblivion Ring variation. Able to exile a non-land permanent until it leaves the battlefield. So similar to Cast Out without the flash. That's become White's removal of choice effect. So there's the Skeleton Archer. 3/3 deals 1 damage to any target. Probably Brian. Explosive Apparatus. We saw that one in Mike's Sealed Pool. 1 mana, 3 mana tap to sacrifice and deal 2 damage. On Brian's side, he has all 3 colors. He's sticking to white for now. Rustwing Falcon and something else. Paul taking a look at it also. Let's see. That's a Novice Knight. 1 mana defender. As long as it's enchanted or equipped, though, it can attack for 2/3. Not a bad creature.
Yeah.
Stuff he probably wanted to play on turn 1 and not turn 4. But that plus the Falcon makes it okay. And if he can get something on it, the Courser will give it flying.
Yep.
Okay, so Paul now able to play his Flattery Lich right into a Remove Soul. That's not good.
A good old Essence Scatter. Essence Scatter is actually a really strong card.
Essence Scatter, that's correct.
No, it's the same idea though. Remove Soul.
Same concept.
Yep.
Remove Soul being the old card that I play in 93, 94 though.
Yep, with the cool skeleton art.
So nice. But basically counter target creature spell. And that stopped the Phylactery Lich from even starting. Now, I do believe that is the non-promo version. So Brian has now seen that Paul has 2 copies of Phylactery Lich in there. 5/5 indestructible.
Paul was able to get the artifacts out he needed for the Lich.
He got off to a much better start artifact-wise. And he has the Suspicious Bookcase, which gives unblockable. Brian's sitting on counter magic, though.
So it looks like Brian is playing the more control-y style of the white-blue flyers. It is aggressive in the sense that he can just keep coming in with his flying creatures.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of his blue, like the blue...
That's 2 cancels in hand.
Exactly. All the blue that he's representing is to protect all his flying guys.
So he has... Okay. That would be the Ether Shield Artificer. 3/3 dwarf at the beginning of each combat. On Brian's turn, target artifact creature he controls gets +2/+2 indestructible.
Okay.
So right now he doesn't have any, but
So it's just a 3/3 body.
3/3
right
blocker, which will stop the skeleton archer
Yep.
from beating him down too bad. And he has totally lost in hand and 2 cancels.
I do think it's relevant that Paul has the explosive apparatus, as he can take out
The Rustwing Falcon.
or something else that's relevant too.
Yeah.
The totally lost and cancel combo is really important, because if Brian can totally lost a Lich at the end of Paul's turn,
Right.
and he'll have, if he can, I think he needs a second blue source. That's the big problem. Brian is only on 1 blue source. He can't play either of those cancels. But if he can do that, that will.
Here's
well,
the second
here's
Lich.
the second one.
We'll see how long this one stays.
Yep.
Interesting. Looks like Paul chose the explosive apparatus as the Liches. Most Liches, I would not think, would choose something that you want to sacrifice.
I think one of the reasons why he does that is it can't really be targeted as a creature, whereas his other artifact is a creature, and if that creature dies, his Lich will just die that turn.
Right.
So having the ability to figure out when you want to do it, like he has the option to sacrifice it or not, is relevant for at least a turn, because yeah.
Now, you were saying totally lost. If Brian bounces the artifact,
the
Lich counter goes away.
You're right.
And the
Absolutely.
Lich dies.
You're right.
Or if he bounces the Lich, the counter stays.
I would bounce the artifact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got options.
He's got options. That's very good
Aviation
observation.
Pioneer in play. Brings
Makes
out
a
a Thopter.
Yep. Which will, at the beginning of combat, become 3/3 indestructible because of the dwarf. Look at all the synergies this white-blue deck has. I like it. This is your artifact deck you were talking about?
This is the one I wanted to see, and this is how I thought we'd see it playing out.
This deck looks sweet.
I expected a few more Thopters, but I'm enjoying this. This is good to watch. I do feel bad. I wanted to see some Liches doing some damage.
So Paul's going to trade the Rustwings.
Even though Brian's at a lower life total right now, Paul seems to be slipping here. Okay, Nightmare's Thirst, because he gained some life. He's able to pick off the Rustwing.
Yep. So right now, Paul is just trying to manage the air game.
Yep.
Getting rid of the Corsair and the Thopter are both important.
Yeah, because Brian has that artifact, his 2/3 creature is now at the 1 mana 2/3 is actually able to attack, I believe.
Yep.
It loses its defender ability. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's if it's enchanted or equipped.
So the big thing is that on the ground, Paul has things covered, but in the air, he does not. The Corsair needs to be the big thing that needs to be taken out, if anything.
Okay, so there's a 5/5 indestructible, but it's just going to run into a wall.
Yep. Brian's happy to get rid of the token generator there.
Yeah. Gravedigger, interesting.
So Paul will get a creature back.
Now, he got back another Phylactery Lich. If he puts that one into play and puts a counter on a different artifact, that satisfies both of the Phylactery Liches.
It saves both.
So that gets rid of the totally lost play.
Yep.
Brian drew a timely land.
But Brian can, depending on how he taps his mana, well, now he has the second blue, he can cancel it, that's one. And then the other thing is he could respond to the other one by totally losting the artifact that
now that he has the mana.
Yeah.
If he had not hit that land right there,
yep,
it would have been very different, and he'd have a hard time with those 2 Liches.
So it looks like he puts the trigger on the Thopter to give it +2/+2, and he's going to come in with the team, giving the dwarf on the ground flying. So that's 3, 6, 7 damage. Paul goes to 11. So Brian actually might have things under control here with the cancels in hand.
He knows Paul has a Lich in hand.
Yep.
So now Brian's had one island for a long time.
Yes.
You have to think he's stuck.
Yeah, he was holding cards as well.
So now do you run into that hand that you expect might have counter magic with your Lich, or do you try to draw it out with something else?
Sure. See, I'm not entirely sure, because we haven't seen... Did Paul get to see any cancels in the previous game? I don't believe
No,
so.
there were no counter spells. There was an Essence Scatter, so he can expect some counter magic.
So yeah, it looks like he gets his Lich countered there.
Yep. I'm trying to figure out that other card in Paul's hand right now. It's one of the newer ones that I couldn't really tell. Murder. So it's not one of the newer ones, but I didn't recognize the art. Okay. So Murder takes care of nothing because it got canceled.
Yeah. Paul takes another 7, going to 4.
Now, if he had tried to murder on his turn, Brian was tapped out and couldn't have canceled. But nobody expects a second cancel.
Nope. Especially when you just saw the last one.
Yeah.
Taking care of the Courser makes it so he still takes 3 in the air from the Thopter. He can kill the Thopter with the Explosive Apparatus, but he has to figure out a way to kill a Pegasus Corsair. Because he's fine.
The Courser is letting the Dwarf get through.
Yes.
Because without that Courser, you're right, the Dwarf is not attacking.
Yep.
Alright, looks like he's going on aggro.
He wants
Brian
to try
being
and
at
push
8
evil.
life.
Yeah.
He can force some blocks here. He is still holding a card in hand. And he has an apparatus he can sacrifice for 2 damage.
So he takes 7 apparatus for 3.
And that's lethal.
That's lethal.
Well played.
That was very well played by Paul. He did the math on the swingbacks.
Yep.
Decided that if he did that ordering the right way, that he was able to get that last 2 points of damage with the explosive apparatus.
It looks like he probably figured that a turn or 2 ago.
Yep.
Trying to play the angles and worked out very well.
It
was close.
That was a very good game too. I actually thought up until that last second there that Brian was going to take it because he was able to double cancel.
I forgot he could target the Brian with the apparatus.
Yeah.
I was thinking blow up the Thopter.
Yep.
Because then he would have only taken 4 on the attack back. But being able to go right to the head finishes it.
Yeah. The other thing that was interesting is that there might have been an argument for Brian to totally lost the thing as opposed to cancel it, saving the damage, but there's almost no way he could have thought. I mean, it's very hard for him to know that line.
He could have targeted the apparatus. Paul only had 1 mana up at that point.
Right.
And yeah,
And then it would have killed the Lich.
Yeah.
But that's a line of play that's not like
It's
obvious.
not intuitive.
It's not an obvious line
The
of play.
apparatus wasn't the threat he was dealing with.
Exactly. Well, that was a very good game too, and now we're going to go to a very interesting game 3.
Good show of the power of the Lich.
The Lich is
when
huge.
Paul had the artifacts in play,
Yeah.
if that card's not dead in hand, waiting on artifacts, it's indestructible creatures in pretty much any format are tough to deal with.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they sideboarded anything, and
they're just getting ready.
jam for game 3.
They're just going.
Yeah, like I think if Paul had something for flyers, he would sideboard it in. But I don't think Black has a specific like, oh, this will deal with flyers better.
Nope.
It's just like all my removal.
Yeah, is
I
that a
just need
creature?
it. Yeah,
Destroy it.
absolutely. And then on Brian's side, I think if he has any sideboard cards, they'd be artifact removal.
Mm-hmm.
Like Invoke the Divine or something. But we will see.
Now, he saw 2 different forms of Lich. He knows for a fact Paul now has 2.
Mm-hmm.
He saw them both at the same time.
I would be holding my Councils and Essence Scatters for that card.
Would you elevate your priority to keep artifacts off the board?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Without an artifact to enable it, the Lich doesn't exist. So if we can get rid of the artifacts, we're pretty good. Brian
Looks like a Horizon Scholar.
Yeah, Brian has 3 lands, a Cancel, Monolith, the Sphinx, which is awesome, costs 7, and then I can't remember, what is that artifact?
Sky Scanner.
Sky Scanner. That's the flyer that helps you draw a card?
Yep. 2 mana, 1/1, draw a card.
Yep.
The Horizon Scholar, when it enters the battlefield, scry 2, which will work with the Djinn.
He's got the 1.
Transmogrifying 1.
Yes, so we can change our sack.
Let's
so
see some Oxen.
He can sack his creature, get a 1/1 and an Ox. So much goodness.
Ox.
Also,
This is the first time they've had Ox tokens. 2/4.
really?
Ox tokens, yep.
Wow. Oxen are a tribe. Semi.
It's not a good tribe.
No, it's not a good one.
My son always used to play Ox in his Theros block sealed pools.
Yeah.
And I always picked on him for it.
The
'cause
Doom Dissenter.
They weren't good. But he's beaten me way more times than I care to admit, so it's okay. There's the Sky Scanner.
The way Brian is positioning his lands triggers me a little.
Well,
Paul
Paul's doing it too.
They're doing it on purpose to us, I feel.
One of my most awkward games. I was at a pre-release in the late '90s, or I guess early 2000s in San Antonio.
Okay.
My opponent had a pair of contact lenses that basically made his entire eye red.
Okay, yeah, the kind of fake contact lens
I
things.
could not focus at all
Yeah.
on that game.
So Paul plays a transmogrifying wand.
Very tilted.
You know what actually this is really relevant for Paul is any flyer.
Yeah.
Any flyer becomes a 2/4 ground ox that doesn't get through the lich.
5/5 doesn't
Yeah.
care about 2/4s.
So
I love the wand.
yeah, the
Very
wand
good play.
great in this cool deck, this mono black deck. All right,
And
now-
even after it loses counters,
yeah,
it's an artifact he can put a Phylactery Lich on that he does not care about.
right.
That
That's not a throwaway, but I love that in this mono black deck that once your thing does what it's supposed to, it's now a throwaway for something else.
Yep.
I like to call it like a recyclable deck because basically you recycle all the stuff that sucks into better stuff.
I'm done with you now.
Yeah.
So there's the mana list. So he's got a Horizon Scholar next turn.
Yep. And the big thing about, if you guys haven't played Dominaria Limited, it's kind of like Cloud Reader Sphinx.
It's a 4/4 flyer.
Yeah. And it scries too.
Scry too.
That effect is incredibly powerful, especially if like you've never played with it before. Being able to fix what your powerful cards are in a slow format is very powerful.
So he'll get the Scry, but I'm pretty sure it will become an Ox.
It will become an Ox, but it will have done its duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like Paul is going to play
The Archer.
Yep.
Skeleton Archer. This time
Dealing
actually
one.
able to kill something.
Yep. That card's really good in any reanimated kind of deck too, because if you recur it continues to do 1 damage to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this format, we also have Relentless Skeleton.
Yes.
Or Reassembling Skeleton.
That
which
card is great.
You can return to the graveyard from the battlefield for 2 mana. Reassembling Skeleton. Here comes the Horizon Ox.
We have Scry 2. I see a land and something else. He likes neither of them and puts them on the bottom.
Way better than drawing stuff you don't want.
That's true. Fixing your deck is a real thing.
The nice thing about the wand, it only costs 1 mana to destroy the creature.
Yep.
So here we have the Scholar that just entered the battlefield. Soon to lose the wings
Yeah.
and get a different face.
How big is the Archer in power and toughness?
3/3.
3/3, okay. So it gets blocked by an Oxen.
Yeah,
Yep.
but that's okay.
That's fine.
It's better than getting blocked by a Sphinx.
It's interesting to see if Paul has any -1/-1 deal 1 damage effects where if he might consider just coming in.
He did have Nightmare Thirst,
Okay.
which would be enough to kill it.
Yeah. So you might not even have to spend your
The wand
counter, yeah.
Just thought of something. The Transmogrifying Wand. You don't need to pull a subject. I'm just checking real quick. It says remove a counter. Does it specify what type of counter? Remove a charge counter. I was just thinking if it didn't specify,
Yeah.
he could remove the Phylactery counter.
Oh.
But it does specify.
Yeah, it does.
So never mind.
So it looks like he's pumped up his Doom Dissenter?
Was that the Blessing?
I believe so, yeah.
Infernal Scarring.
+2/+0.
Tarkir.
When it dies, draw a card.
Okay. So something that he wants to die anyway.
Yep. So he's gonna change the the Sphinx into an Ox before damage, so it becomes a 2/4.
I'm not sure there's any real value in that though. It's only dealing 3 damage.
Yeah. Huh.
So
Why did the
Brian put it in the graveyard, so it looks like
wait? Why did the
the
Doom Dissenter is 2/2, or is it a 1/1?
1/1. So that should only be 3 damage on the Horizon Scholar.
How did the Horizon Scholar die?
They might be looking for an Ox. Nope. Twitch stream
There we go.
commentators.
We did it.
Save the day.
We did it, boys. So he does get the zombie.
Nice looking zombie token.
Yep. Yep. So we got this right. The board state is good, and Paul got to draw a card off the Infernal Scarring.
Here comes an attack for 4. Paul taking the attack for 4. Apparently not too worried about the 4/4 flyer.
Yep. Not just yet, anyway. Alright, what we got? We got a bunch of swamps.
Yeah. 2 lands, Infectious Horror, and a Gravedigger.
What is in the grave right now? His
Just the Doomed Dissenter.
Dissenter.
I think he might be saving that for one of his better creatures that gets countered.
Brian is fine taking the damage here.
Counterspell in 2 lands. Cancel in 2 lands.
So Brian is going to have an interesting decision because the cancel, like he saw last game, even though he had pretty good control with the cancel, he has to choose a really good target.
Right.
Because otherwise, using it incorrectly could mean the game for him.
So, interesting, game 1, Brian was able to get game 1 on the back of his small flyers.
Yes.
Okay, so Paul pulled the trigger and we now have a 2/4 Ox token.
Ah. Oh, I like that token.
I had to look long and hard to find an Ox character to put on a token.
That's a good one.
So we went with Zootopia. And,
Yeah. It looks like he canceled the horror. So
okay.
Paul can't continually bring the clock regardless of
Yep.
blocks or not. So right here, I actually think Paul might be on the advantage side. He has slightly more cards than Brian.
Well, Brian has 2 lands and it looks like a Totally Lost.
Right.
And there's nothing really worth using Totally Lost on right now.
The best thing he can do is the token to kill it.
Yeah, just to get rid of it, but he can block it
Yep.
perfectly fine.
Yep. So right now he's just...
He hasn't played a swamp yet.
That's right.
Now, I talked earlier about Mike's tapping out his red mana and having just the mana left as red mana.
Yep.
Brian's doing that right now with the swamps. He doesn't have any in play, so maybe trying to get Paul thinking he doesn't have black,
Yeah.
or just because he doesn't have any black spells. Either one. Lands in hand represent spells that your opponent doesn't know.
The interesting thing here is that Brian isn't like in overt danger right now.
He can favorably block both of Paul's creatures, and so yeah, we're in a bit of a standstill. If Paul does go for the attack, Brian has the option of killing the token and just taking 3 for a turn, but clearing up the board a little, or he can just block and everything lives.
Yep.
So Paul just swinging with the 3/3. There is a safe block.
It looks like Brian
wants
is
to
happy
take
to
it out,
trade.
though.
Yeah.
So probably killing off the Pegasus or playing a combat trick.
Yeah, I think I would, if I had a choice, I'd want to get rid of the Pegasus first because all the flyers seem to be the problem for Paul.
Looks like he's thinking about it, stewing over his choices. Yep, he opted to kill off the Pegasus. We saw last game, it was a big problem with it flying and giving everything else flying in game 1. So definitely a card that Paul wants to get rid of right now, as his deck is very light on flying creatures and ways to answer them. Explosive Apparatus.
Yep.
Only costs 1. He has mana to sacrifice it when he wants to right now, which he will.
Which the damage was marked, I believe, on the oxen.
The Courser took all 3 to kill it.
Oh, all 3 to kill it. Okay.
And the Apparatus would only deal 2 damage, so not enough.
Okay. And Paul does have a Gravedigger, if I recall.
He does, so you can get the Archer back.
So you get the Archer
next
back,
turn.
deal 1. The Apparatus can only deal...
Apparatus
2.
can deal 2, but it makes it so that if the Ox does block, it's lethal.
Exactly.
So he gets back to Skeleton.
Yep.
And that'll be his next turn.
Yep.
Probably Skeleton,
Well,
second
we'll
main
see
phase.
what Brian actually plays out.
Yeah. And he does have Totally Lost, which is not really answering much on the board right now, though.
Yep.
I think he drew a land.
It's okay to hold up the Totally Lost if Paul plays the Lich, because the Totally Lost can take care of the Lich in response to whatever artifact Paul chooses.
Yeah.
But
Oh, he drew the Djinn.
oh, hey, we might get some wishes.
He only has 3 mana up though.
Yeah. The Djinn is a 4/4.
4/4 flyer. I don't know if Brian skipped a turn to hold land as a.
The big problem is
Trick.
that the Djinn is going to become an Ox.
So many Ox.
Yeah. I think Brian might have wanted to try and, well, maybe he doesn't have a choice at this point.
Right.
He's being pressured on life total a little bit. Well, Brian does have the aforementioned wall of meat.
Alright, Paul playing one of the newer black spells. Trying to find that one for you.
I believe he gets to take a creature
Looks like
from
Rise
a
from the
graveyard.
Grave.
Yeah, that's a reprint.
Yep. But
for 6
newer
mana,
art.
Yeah, 6 mana you get to, or
5.
5 mana. You get to take a creature from a graveyard, make it a zombie. He takes the Djinn of Wishes.
Not a bad choice.
He has no way to wish, unfortunately, because he's a mono black, but he does get a 4/4 flyer.
Yep. Actually, because of that, maybe the Horizon Scholar might have been a better choice. He would have gotten a Scry 2 off it.
Oh yeah, because he would get a 4/4 flyer scry too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he does play Liches, so he probably has Manaliths, which might be what he's banking on. Oh,
very
that
good.
gives Brian a chance to get the Djinn back.
Yeah, this puts it back on top of his own library.
That worked out well for him. Because he's doing that on Paul's end step.
Wow, I like these interactions.
Oh,
These
yeah.
are sweet.
And now he has a land, so he'll
Yeah.
be able to use it right away. No?
Did he not untap?
He must have done that on his turn.
Oh, okay. But wait, how did he get to draw it?
I'm not sure. Alright. Again, we have a judge sitting at the table.
Sure.
Try and keep the game straight, and I got faith in them at the table.
Is that a... Oh, that's the deal 1 damage to any target.
Skeleton Archer. Looks like
So
Paul
that was at
passes
the
his
end.
turn back.
That was during Paul's turn.
Still not sure why he drew it.
Yeah. I'm confused how he drew the Djinn off the top.
Totally Lost does not draw. Alright. But like we said, there's a judge there trying to keep it straight.
Absolutely.
That is not our job.
This is true.
So the quote on the Ox seems relevant right now.
What is the quote on the Ox?
Didn't forget, just don't care.
That's really the quote?
That's what I put
That's
on.
amazing.
For my token.
For your
yes.
token.
Didn't forget, just don't care.
Lol.
So, I'm sure they didn't forget. They just don't care.
Oh.
Looks like
Gotcha.
Alex is getting some clarification.
So what happened was Brian totally losted the Djinn on his own upkeep.
Oh.
And then so he drew it, passed the turn back to Paul. Paul did his thing, and this is where we are now.
Okay.
Yep, that's super cool.
Like we said, we're just watching,
Yep.
and there is no... it's not Magic Online. There's no phase
Yeah.
marker. So,
I do like how Magic Online kind of like does all your triggers for you, but then it's bad because when you play paper, you forget.
it makes Ironwork so much easier. It makes the clock difficult, but it makes
The clock
understanding the
is
play
ridiculous, yeah. So did he get another...
easier. Alright, so... that is the Bugler.
Okay.
So look at the top 4, creature with power 2 or less. And it looks like he found a falcon off it.
Yep. It looks like his wish has turned
Militia
into another
Bugler.
Ox. Or his Djinn is now... Now the wall of meat is complete. He's 3 oxen deep.
We're out of Ox tokens! Emergency!
He's 3 oxen deep.
And now we have a artifact that's just waiting to get a Lich counter. Because then, if Brian does totally lost it,
That's right.
there's more
Well,
Ox.
there's no more totally lost because he used it on his own Djinn.
Was that his only one?
I don't know.
That's the thing.
That's true.
We have not seen either. Well, we got to take a quick look through Paul's deck. We don't know what's in Brian's.
It looks like Paul is making his Gravedigger a 4/2, which will draw a card if it dies. Relevant
Okay.
in that it'll take out a piece of the wall of meat.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a 2/4. I think that's what he's using to represent the 3rd Ox.
Yep. Looks like they're putting something under it, which I was about to say maybe.
There you go. Yep. So he's going to jam with a 4-2. He's deciding whether or not he wants to come in for more. So it looks like a 4-2 is there in the sense that he's going to get a card if it dies. He's going to kill a creature if it doesn't.
Yeah, it's a fair trade for him.
Yep, totally cool with it.
And we already saw one rise from the grave. He probably has another way to get the Gravedigger back from the grave.
And what that represents is that the one enchantment that he put on the creature was good for a removal spell. Also, you get to replace the card, that specific card.
So one of their ways to try and improve the card disparity of auras is the card draw trigger.
Also, it allows Paul to stuff a couple more things in his graveyard. Unsure if there's anything in his graveyard that requires, things in it. But part of the thing when you're playing a Reanimator kind of deck or anything in this black recycle thing is you actually have to put stuff in your graveyard.
You have to build your resources.
Yeah, so your resource, if your graveyard is a resource, it has to be built as well as everything else.
Which is one of the strengths of Dredge.
Yep.
It builds your graveyard resources while at the same time stocking your hand. So it looks like Brian sacrificed the Falcon to get out. I'm going to have to look that one up.
Is that his 6/6? Yeah, this is the Demon of Catastrophe.
Demon of Catastrophe.
6/6 flying
6/6
travel.
flyer. And we're out of Ox tokens.
And we're out of Tox tokens.
Or Ox counters, yeah.
This is the time where Paul has his 2 or 3 removal spells that this is the one you want to use it on. You want to murder this thing, you want to...
Right now, Paul has nothing in the air.
Yep.
His ground creatures are being blocked by the Ox tokens. That 6/6 will end the game in 3 turns.
Yep, he's got a clock now. Paul's at 9.
And still does not have a good attack.
He's digging so hard for a removal spell here. We'll see what happens.
You know what Brian needs now?
What's that?
Liliana's contract.
Yeah. And the other 3 demons. So Paul's at 3 here. This is actually a really, really big moment. If Paul has no way to pick up a removal spell right here, that would be the game.
This has been really good. After
this
the
is a
first
really
game,
good one. Yeah.
When Brian got off that really fast small flying
back and
start,
forth, this is a good one. And like Paul
very
extends
good game
the
by
hand.
both of them. I enjoyed that.
We got to see a bunch of cool stuff. We saw a Gin of Wishes roll back and forth and back and forth.
Crazy.
There's a lot of really cool stuff going on.
And it ended with the Demon of Catastrophes and multiple Oxen Wall of Meat on the table.
The whole deal.
That was very fun.
I'm glad we got to see these 2 competitors. They're both super great Magic players.
Yep. Always here. They always do well.
Yep, and they both brought deck styles that I think fit their personalities.
Yep.
Paul's a mono back player through and through. Brian loves playing Esper Control. This works out well for both of them. We got to see cool cards like Transmogrifying Wand change the flyers into Oxen. Seemed like
so
pretty
glad
good.
we got to see Oxen on board.
Yeah, so I think that was a good card, and then we saw the demons and stuff.